my fellow gods and goddesses, welcome back to my channel. My name is Heather and today we are doing an absolutely ginormous book haul. I don't know whose bright idea it was for me to wait a whole last 2 months before doing another book haul, but if you're wondering why my bookshelves look so barren, as I say, there's still too many books on here, I have so many books in front of me. Like, I know people exaggerate all the time about how many books, but I have so many, so I'm gonna quit jabbering on and I'm going to tell you guys about these because I feel like we're going to be here for a while. First things first, we are going to talk about books that I haven't technically thrifted. So I'm going to talk about books first that I got at Half Price Books. I just went to San Francisco the other day and got some books. So I first got The Never-Ending Story by Michael Und. This was a book that my mom actually wanted. My mom and I used to watch this movie all the time while growing up. It's a fantastical world with a storybook and all that jazz. If you haven't seen the movie, you should. It is a really great movie and it has one of the saddest scenes in cinema history, so I'm excited to read about that. It's gonna be a great time. The next book I got was Truth Witch by Susan Dennard. I don't know what this is about, I just know it has something to do with witches and that's it. I know I'm talking fast, I know I'm going fast, I have a lot of books to talk about, so you guys have seen this. It's popular on BookTube, it's good, it's a fantasy. I'm gonna read it and I hope I think it's good. Next, I have The Demon King by Cinda Williams-Shima? Who knows? This is another epic, high fantasy, young adult novel. It has 1 billion books in the series. I don't know what it's about. I know that the Seven Realms world, which this takes place in, is a vast world made up of many, many books, and I know the spin-off of this series just ended this year, so I have a lot of catching up to do, and I'm excited to catch up because I've heard a ton of great things about this, and I'm excited to find out what it's about. I'm excited to read it, and there you go. I already said that. The next group of books are books that I got from Thrift Books, and this one is Heretics Anonymous by Katie Henry. I love this book. You guys know how much I love this book. This is about Michael, who is an atheist who has to go to Catholic school, and in class, this girl pops off against the nun, who is the teacher, of course, and he thinks that he's found a comrade, but it turns out that she wants to be a priest, so she is very much Catholic herself, and she actually introduces him to a group of individuals at the school who don't typically fit the norm of the Catholic school's teachings, and it's basically like a support group for beliefs and understanding and all that stuff, and I just got myself my own copy of it and I'm excited and I love it, and read it. The next book I got from Thrift Books is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. This is the 10th anniversary edition, which I'm so happy I have because this cover is beautiful. Look at the sprayed edges, look at the inside and pages. It is a big boy. Oh my gosh, I can't even hold it correctly. The Name of the Wind follows this guy named Koroth, something like that, and a bard comes into his tavern, which he has basically retired in, and the bard's like, hey, will you tell me your story? And Koroth's like, fine, I'll tell you my story, it'll take 3 days, and each one of the books is one of the 3 days that he tells his story, and he's basically been like this, I assume he's like this vigilante, chosen one, mercenary kind of character, but I'm really, really excited to read this. I've heard nothing but great things about this book, and I want to get into adult high fantasy, so I feel like this is one of the staple ones, and I'm excited to see what the hype is about. The next group of books are books that I have bought full price, or ish full price, and the first one I got is Warrior of the Wild by Trisha Lemonseller. I got this while I was at Y'all West, and Warrior of the Wild follows this girl who is banished from her village, and she isn't allowed to come back until she kills a god, and it's supposed to have Norse mythology references, which I personally am not a huge, I don't know a whole lot about Norse mythology because it's very convoluted and the names are ridiculous, so I've never really been interested in it, or I've never really actively sought it out, but I'm very intrigued about this. I see gods and I want to read it. The next book I got is Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nagan. I actually got this signed while I was at Y'all West. Boom! And I actually painted the edges myself to look like the Fairy Loot edition, because this is not the Fairy Loot edition because I'm too poor for Fairy Loot. It is about a girl who is a paper girl, and these paper girls are human sex slaves to this demon king. I think there's supposed to be a sapphic romance in here. It's a big topic of sexual abuse and all that really great stuff that the patriarchy subjects women to. Love that. I'm excited to read this. I've heard very mixed things about it. The next book I got is a newly acquired one, and that is 4 Day Queens by Astrid Schultz. My boyfriend Sal gave this to me, so thank you, baby. I love it so much. 4 Day Queens takes place in a country named Quadara, and Quadara is split up in 4 quadrants. There is an agricultural quadrant, there is a advanced tech quadrant, there is a mercantile quadrant, and a cultural artsy hub quadrant. Each one of the 4 quadrants are ruled by a queen, and you follow the perspective of each of the 4 queens, and also of a girl who is kind of a thief freelancer who is trying to uncover the mystery that has been going on in this country. It's really good. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. I love this story. It's a standalone fantasy. It is so amazing. The story is so gripping. It is so interesting. The world building, the politics, all of that stuff. It's really, really cool, and I enjoy it. So read it. The next book I got was The Light Between Worlds by Laura E. Weymouth. This, I have no idea what it's about. I think it follows sisters. That could be wrong. I think it has something to do with animals. That could also be wrong, but I mean, there's a deer on the cover, so I would hope so. And somebody on Twitter was like, hey, this is only like, I don't know, 10 bucks. And I was like, hey, that's been on my TBR. I'll go pick it up. So I picked it up. Do I know what it's about? No, I don't. And that's fine. I don't need to know. It's a beautiful cover. I'm excited to read it. It has double edges. Yes. Yes. The next book I picked up is Malice by John Gwynne. Who knows what his name is? This is another epic high adult fantasy. This has 4 perspectives in it. It looks like there's gonna be like giants and stuff, and yeah, it's an adult high fantasy. I'm sure there's gonna be magic. I'm sure there's gonna be monsters. I'm sure there's gonna be mercenaries and character development and all that stuff. And it's a floppy boy. I've heard good things about this. I think it's a trilogy, and I'm excited to read it. I really love the cover. I really love how floppy it is, and hopefully I love it, because it's a really big boy, so that would suck if I wasted my entire time. The next book I got was Lovely War by Julie Berry. You guys know how much I adore this book. It is a World War I historical fiction following 3 romances, and it is narrated by Aphrodite herself, and the portrayal of Aphrodite is so incredible in this book. It really feels like it is her writing it. The romances in here are so swoon-worthy. They are so sweet, so wholesome. If you are looking for historical fiction, specifically like a World War historical fiction that isn't depressing, here you go. The only troubling things about it is just the discussions of the treatment of African Americans, because one of the characters in here is African American, and he is in the infantry, and I'm sure you guys know anything about history. You guys know that the treatment of African Americans was still horrid while they were fighting for our country. So that is definitely a heavy part of the story, but overall it is a very wholesome, romantic, lovely historical romance, and I love it. It's one of my favorites, and I'm so glad I have my own copy of it, because it's really, really good, and I highly recommend it to everybody. Alright, so the next set of books are just books that I have found thrifted, and there are a lot of them, so let's go get into it. So, I got Assassin's Blade, Throne of Glass, and Crown of Midnight at my local thrift store. If you guys don't know what Throne of Glass is about, you can watch a different video, because if you guys don't know what it's about by now, I don't know what to tell you. The next book I got was Eve by Alyssa Elliott. This is a book that has been on my radar for quite a while. I saw it in my library one day and I didn't pick it up, but then I found it at my local thrift store and I was like, well, I can't say no to that. So I don't know too much about this book. I just know that it follows Eve, as in the first woman. I assume it's probably in the Garden of Eden, probably following her life, probably probably following her banishment. I'm not too sure, but I do know that I have been wanting to read about biblical lore for quite a while now, and I want to read more books with it in it. So here's one of them, and hopefully I enjoy it. Whew, we are doing great right now. I have no idea how fast I'm talking, but it's gonna be a good time editing this. Woo! The second book I got was The Secret History by Donna Tartt. This is a very popular book here on BookTube. I know Whitney from Witty Novels really loves it, as well as Jamie from Leo Reads. It's one of their favorite books, if not their favorite books of all time. I know the gist of it. I know we follow this like group of really pretentious elite teenage or college kids who study Greek, and they murder somebody, I think. I honestly don't know how I'm gonna feel about this. It's gonna be very interesting to know my thoughts, because you guys know how easily I am annoyed by characters, and I know that the characters in here are the absolute worst. But I feel like since there's gonna be like Greek references, and I know going in that they're the worst, hopefully I'll enjoy this. But this is definitely like a 50-50 for me. I don't know if I'm gonna hate this or love it, but I'm excited to find out which one. Either I'm gonna have a write review, or I'm gonna have a judge a book by its cover on it. So it'll be fun to see which one that is. The next book I got was The Fairy Wars by Herbie Brennan. This is a young adult novel about fairies. I don't know anything more than that. I just know that this came out the late 2000s, and this has been on my TBR since back then. While at a thrift store, I still love fairies. I'm excited to check this out. It's a pretty short read. The font's really big, so you know, hopefully I enjoy it. The next book I got was The Bane Chronicles by Cassandra Clare and other authors. This follows Magnus Bane. I don't know anything more than that. I know I've heard very mixed feelings about this. I know a lot of people don't really like it that much, but again, at the thrift store, I was gonna buy it. I'm gonna read the entire Shadowhunter Chronicles, so I'll just fit this one in there, and you know, we'll see how it goes. The next book I got was Fairy Tales, Stories of Grim and Gruesome by Stephen Jones and illustrated by Alan Lee. So this is just a book of fairies and like fairy tales, as it says, and I guess there are some illustrations in it. The end papers are really cool. I love fairy tales. I read quite a few of them. I have read quite a few of them, so I'm excited to read this. It also has stories with Neil Gaiman, Joanne Harris, and Garth Nix. I love me some Neil Gaiman, so I am excited. The next book I got was A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Caballero. This is actually signed by a fellow booktuber, Rocky from Blonde with a Book. I got her to sign this when I went to Y'all West and we met each other. And this is a retelling of Sherlock and Jamie Watson and their descendants, and there's a murder mystery and all that jazz. I'm excited to read this. I've heard very good things about this series. I don't know what else to say except that I'm excited to read this, just like I'm excited to read all of these because I spent my money on them. The next thing I got is a graphic novel, and that is Spinning by Tilly Walden. This is about a figure skater who finds out that she likes girls, and that's pretty much all I know about it. The art style is very pretty. It is only made up of 3 colors, so white, purple, and yellow, and I am very excited to read this. It's a pretty chunky one. I'll probably be doing this on a graphic novel binge video, so stay tuned for that whenever I do another one of those. But yes, I'm excited I found this at the thrift because I don't usually find a whole lot of graphic novels. The next 2 books I got are related. They are Lullaby by Langleave and Memories by Langleave. If you guys see right here, these little books right here are poetry collections by Michael Follett. They are partners, actually, so they have very similar writing styles. It's kind of like erotic modern poetry, and I've always loved these. I haven't read specifically from Langleave herself, so I don't know if she goes on to like the erotic kind of subjects, but I assume they're pretty similar. I'm excited to finally get into these. Hopefully I read these soon because by the time I'm filming this, it is May and the Asian Readathon's happening. Hopefully I read 1 or 2 of these before the month is over. The next book I picked up is Marina by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. This is like a Spanish bestseller from what I understand. It's very popular in Spain and it is now an international bestseller. I don't know too much about it. I just just know that a boy meets a girl and then they discover this secret society underground Spain with like aristocrats and secrets and mystery and all that jazz. I love the cover. I'm going to paint the edges red for sure. If you guys have heard anything about this, let me know, because I have not, but it looks really cool. The next book I got is The Glittering Court by Rochelle Mead. I don't have the dust jacket for it because it did not come with a dust jacket. And when thrifting, you take what you can get. I don't know absolutely anything about this story. I just know that it probably has to do with court intrigue. I like Rochelle Mead, so I feel like I would like it. The next group of books are a part of a series. I got Aragon, Inheritance, and Brizinger by Christopher Paolini. These books are about a kid who finds a dragon or dragon eggs or something like that. Daenerys could never. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I just know that this is a very popular, obviously a very popular series. I'm sure every single person has heard about it. And this will be making an appearance in my channel very soon, so stay tuned for that. The next book I found is probably one of my best founds I've ever found at the thrift, and that is Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. And it is in perfect condition. I don't know what it is about red sprayed edges. Red sprayed edges are definitely the pinnacle of sprayed edges. I love them so much. You guys know what Six of Crows is about. You guys know what Crooked Kingdom is about. I don't know because I haven't read them, even though I have this in my hands right now. But are you gonna tell me that if you saw this at the thrift you wouldn't pick it up? That's what I thought. The next two books I got, The Young Elites and The Rose Society by Marie Lu. From what I know about this series, you follow very unlikable characters, almost like villainous characters, I assume. I think it's like historical fantasy based, but I really don't know what these are about. I have just been recommended this from multiple people because I do like unlikable characters and I feel like this is a good one. The next book I got is Graceling by Kristen Kishore. This is a YA veteran basically here on BookTube. This follows a girl named Katza who is a Graceling, and Gracelings are basically people who have these unique abilities that they are born with, and Katza is born with killing. Her grace is killing, and so she is an assassin for her uncle who is the king, and he's not a good dude, and she escapes for various circumstances and comes to herself and comes to her power, and there's a romance in here, and they are absolutely one of the greatest couples in YA. This is such a good standalone. It is a companion. There are two other books that are companions, but it's a standalone in and of itself, and it's so good. It's so beautiful. It's so fast-paced. It's just so good. If you haven't read Graceling yet, I don't know what else I can tell you to make you want to read this because it's so good. Oh, the next books I got are another ones that are part of a series. I got the hardcover of Vampire Academy. I actually got this at Thrift Books, but because I had the other two in the series, I wanted to group them together. I got Spirit Bound and Frostbite. The only one I'm missing now is Shadow Kiss, so if y'all want to come through and give me some Shadow Kiss, I'm not going to complain, but hopefully I can find that soon. In all seriousness, the Vampire Academy, I talked about this in my other thrift haul because I got two other ones, but the Vampire Academy follows this girl named Rose who is a vampire, who is half vampire, half human, and vampires are tasked at protecting vampires who are basically like royalty. They're these elite in the society. Her companion is Lissa, who is a princess of the vampires, and it takes place at this Vampire Academy where it's like a college or a high school kind of setting, and it's really good. It has my favorite YA couple of all time. It is amazing. It's action-packed. It's trashy paranormal, but not trashy because it's actually legitimately good. And it's not problematic, so that's fantastic, except for the queer baiting in the first two chapters, but yeah. Okay, we're finally nearing the end of this video. I'm sure once I end this video, I'm gonna forget to talk about a few of these books, but it's fine. I got the sequel to A Great and Terrible Beauty. This is Rebel Angels. This is the second book in the trilogy, and again, I still don't know what A Great and Terrible Beauty is about. I just know that it's by Libba Bray, and I like Libba Bray. Also, Madeline from Novel Inc. said this is one of her favorite series, so I take her, or used to be one, I don't know if it still is, but she said she loved this series, so hopefully I enjoy it as well. And finally, the last book I got is Three Dark Crowns by Kendara Blake. This is about three triplets. No, that's not the right terminology. This is about triplets. One is a naturalist, one is an elemental, and one is a poisoner. And in this island of Fenburn, which is where it takes place, the politics, the tradition has been that every single time triplets are born, they are separated at birth, and they go on to their separate places in the island, and basically they grow up and they all have to kill each other. And the one who survives is the one who becomes queen, and it's just a cycle. And this is really, really good. The first one, like, the world is so good. The politics are so juicy. I love them so much. There is something in this book that is just horrible and trash that kind of deters my enjoyment of it, but overall the world is so good, and I'm very excited to continue on with this series for the Three Dark Crowns readathon. I don't exactly know what it's exactly called, but I will put it on the screen. It is hosted by Carly from Carly's Books. Oh, never ever 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 let me do this again. Oh my god, I feel like I just ran a marathon with my mouth, and that is definitely an innuendo, but we're not going to talk about it. I feel like most people group their books and put it in like a separate part of their room before putting it on their bookshelves until they talk about it, but I am not a proper booktuber. I don't know what I'm doing. As you can see, this was such a mess. I need to like catch my breath after that. That was ridiculous. I'm gonna have to make a thumbnail out of this. Who? Why? Why did I think this was a good idea? I don't understand. I am never doing this again. I am definitely doing monthly hauls because even I can't. Alright you guys, so that is the end of this video. Let me know down below any of the billion books I got. Which one is your favorite? Which one do I absolutely need to read right now that I haven't read? Just let me know your thoughts on all of these books. Just let me know. Let me know. Do you hate them? Do you love them? Should I unhaul them already? Let me know. Give me the tea. Make sure I don't waste my time. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye!